somewhat related to what we were just talking about with the difference between UX and UI, and how it's important if you really want a good user experience to spend the extra time. It's usually like 80-20 that you can get something without spending a lot of time on it decently good, but then to really get it to a high level, you have to spend an extra amount of time. I wanted to talk about something related, AI related. Okay, so a big talking point, something that we discussed in one of the meetup events that you and I were just at, the impact of AI and how it helps us with our job and stuff like that. One of the things people are talking a lot about, you read about it all over the place and people talk about is like, oh, is AI going to take our jobs as software developers and that type of thing? And I think a lot of the consensus is that, like, probably not. Like, it's something that we use to help us. But it's interesting. I do feel like this is part of that 80-20, that like the AI can help us with the 80 part, but not the 20 part, like that. I mean, let me know what you think, but like, it's just something I've spent a lot of time thinking about of how in the current state of tooling, we can use ChatGPT and other related products to help enhance what we're doing, and where it's good and where it's not. Where it's not going to replace who we are. But actually, the bigger thing, and I want to get your thoughts on, is like, if you looked ahead 5 years, and you don't know how good it's going to get or whatever else, but certainly some parts. Forget about whose job it's going to take per se. Let's talk about what parts of our job, like we'll still be working, but what are you and I going to be doing? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, so first part is like, all right, let's go back to that first part of the question, because I will go and I will just think about the 5-year plan for like tech and everything. But first part, what was the question again?
For how it's how we're using it today, and which parts of our job today it's starting to take away versus what it's not good at.
So actually today was it was actually very timely. There's an AI tool that Finding, I think it's called, PHIND, where I was saying, given this example, how can I do X with a bit of HTML and CSS? And they even had like a little blocks like, oh, provide some sample code to provide more context. The amount of time it took me to find maybe not an answer from that question, but like two more prompts to be able to get it to like understand, versus the time I would have spent Googling and sifting through like Stack Overflow posts, random blog posts, was so helpful. It was like good to be able to just know, okay, I spent maybe 15 minutes doing this versus an hour of arbitrary search. I got the answer, and I also have the resources that it was pulling from, so that way I can go see why, which I think was really the thing that I think stood out to me was, here's where we got our reference, and here's the actual like reason why this problem exists. Versus like, there are some other like AI tools that are like, here's the answer, don't ask us where we got it from.
That's it. I haven't tried that one. I definitely will have to check that one out. So like, it sounds like what about for like, it's one thing, the working on new set of code and you're trying to figure out how to make something work. What about for like debugging when you run into like issues? Like, what are some ways that you use some of the ChatGPT and other AI related tools that are out there now?
I actually don't really use them for like debugging, or at least for, much to people probably saying I should just use them. I still am a diehard. I will learn by trying to explore or by like walking through a problem, because even if I didn't know, even if I knew everything, right, and an AI would still be, or how do I want to say it? I didn't know everything, I feel like I would be able to solve a problem faster without AI, and then be able to repeat it multiple times than to just get given an answer from AI and expect that to work every single time. Like, there's the weird nuance that you kind of lose when you're just assuming every response from something is going to be correct. And there's like, you become too dependent and reliant on it, where instead, oh, this might not necessarily be the right thing for this one particular case. And if you don't know that, you kind of hope that the tool's going to always be right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I do think it's useful though when you get stuck though, like and you just need to, because I mean, I don't know if you've had this happen recently, but every now and then I run into one issue that I'm trying to fix something, and just I've spent like hours on it, and just like I can't, like I'm getting nowhere, like I go in circles, and then usually I'm like, okay, I got to do something different because now I'm back like doing the same things that I've tried before or whatever. Like I do feel like sometimes you can, like, or the past couple of months when I've run into like really serious roadblocks, I've kind of used it to just give me other ideas, just try to get something that I'm not already thinking about. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the best rubber ducky. And for those who aren't familiar with the term, rubber ducky is just, I want a companion to help talk through a problem. Normally, it's instead of like having instead of
I've
having
heard that
to,
term
like,
before.
no,
That's hilarious.
oh yeah, it's a rubber duck.
Yeah.
Instead of having like me to Slack my coworker and just like jump on a call and be like, hey, I need to walk through this problem and I need you here to help me, I can be like, okay, here I'm reliant on this person's finite source of knowledge and their memory retention, versus, okay, Copilot or ChatGPT, given this situation, find me what could be the possible solution. And instead of using it as like I'm going to rely on this, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm stuck, don't know what I don't know, you have a near infinite source of information, can you help me just like navigate this decision tree? Which
Yeah.
is really what that's all like AI is doing. So this is just like the perfect fit where it's like you're complementary to the AI is complementary to your skill set and what you're trying to do, and it's not, I'm dependent on the AI.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Actually, one other thing I was just remembering, in addition to like getting new ideas or whatever, uh, I mean, just one thing that it does really well is summarizing. I mean, that's for the same thing for content. Like if you obviously like, okay, on this website page or like this huge book or whatever it is, piece of content, just write me a summary. You can actually do the same thing with debug logs. Like, so like I do a lot of stuff with WebRTC, for example. And so like sometimes I have to sift through SIP logs, which is very annoying if you've ever had to do that before. But it's a particular protocol that like, even as long as I've been doing it, I still forget what everything means or whatever. So it mentally just takes so long to like process through it of like what is happening here. And it has been amazing. I haven't used it a ton, but like a handful of times the past 6 months, whatever, when I have to do that, and I just kind of literally throw it all in there and just say like summarize what happened in this session, this SIP session. Like that's great.
And that's a perfect like rubber duck example where AI is there to assist you, walk through something with you, but it's not the end all be all answer for solve this problem. It's assist me in finding out what actually happened based on the fact that you know what all these like random log entries mean. Just summarize it for me.
I'm not letting you off the hook. Let's get back to the big one of 5 years down the road, prognosticator. Where are we going to be at? Are we going to be all dead because AI just killed everybody, or no? Let's assume. Okay, it's way too open ended. Let's assume that we're not achieving super intelligence. Like it's still a normal progression level of sort of what we have right now, just getting like slightly better. So like I actually am, the question isn't more about like the technology and trying to predict where the technology is going as much as predicting how people are going to use it more efficiently. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I guess I can throw out my answer of living in the woods off the grid. I think in like actual 5 years from now, it'll probably be more or less like the same, but the friction points where tools don't necessarily fit into a current workflow, or there's times where it's like it's too difficult to actually describe via text like what you're trying to do. Like I feel like there's going to be a point where
Yeah.
it'll be smarter, like the AI will be smart enough to like either give it a video or give it like a real world context, and it will be able to either pull from resources that it has or public open data where it can say, all right, you are trying to do generative background images based on album artwork. I don't know what you technically mean, but I'm going to go search for something that can give me an idea, and then I can help guide you in that direction. Like, I feel like its ability to understand the context more will improve versus any landslide like, oh, it's so much faster or so much smarter or so much more ubiquitous. I feel like the context might be the thing that improves the most.
Here's one thing I was thinking about the other day. Let me know if you think this is like far out there or whatever. Is what if one of the, I mean, there's many different levels of where this could go, but like let's just say an example, one of the web frameworks. So like you and I have an Angular background. Let's just use Angular as an example, but it could be other ones. Kind of embraced the usage of AI into a normal workflow where they sort of lean into. So obviously, when you use AI to try to generate code now, it's like hit or miss, and like there's errors, whatever else. But theoretically, if you actually spent time and tried to focus to try to pair the framework up to work well with it, so that it both understood the patterns better and you just created a better user experience, like developer experience of like how they both work together, you could potentially get it to be something where, like right now, there's this, let's say signals or whatever, like there's any random artifact of like some new part of the framework or whatever that people care about, and then they have to learn how to use it and blah, 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 blah. But maybe in the future, it's not as much learning about these new features like that as much as it is learning how to use the AI that understands how to correctly generate the framework in the right way to make it performant and make it do the stuff that you want to do. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what the gist of it. I think that would be cool. I think that would get to a point where there's a weird point where it's trying to remove as much barrier of like knowledge that I think could go too far, because if like anyone could build a web app, like you're so reliant on the AI to be able to generate the correct thing and to generate the right thing. Where I think it could be better, like energy or investment in is performance like tests. Like imagine being able to have your app and have a testing framework that describes what interactions you would like to take inside of your app. And then the AI would perform those actions inside of like Puppeteer or some kind of headless browser, monitoring memory, CPU usage, doing all the profiling. And then based on the profiles, based on the stack traces and source maps, it could say, hey, Jeff, your observable never called unsubscribe. So you have a memory leak now, and it's on this line. Here's some recommended actions that you could do to resolve the situation.
Actually, I really, really like that idea, and I think it's super smart.
But it's also, it's not it's a situation where the tool is assisting you
Yes.
using deeper knowledge, but not replacing you.
Well, yeah, but also the underlying thing too is that writing the sort of protocol and underlying technology for writing tests is pretty simple. Like it doesn't require, like, writing a performant web app. It is super hard and complex, and with the writing user experience, and it differs for people, and yada yada yada. But like, you could theoretically describe in words what you want to test on a web page, and there's already the tooling is so sophisticated for, in a generic way. It doesn't have to understand some of the low level technology part of it. It just knows how to, like, parse out HTML and find the right element, and enter in stuff into a form and whatever. Those are all pretty, like, generic and quote unquote easy things to do.
Like, imagine it being an adapter on an end-to-end test.
Yes.
That just watches that stack trace, watches that profiler, and instantly provides value, has general understanding of the inner workings. I think that's a new startup idea.
Yeah, so you know what? That's so funny you say that. That's exactly what I was about to say. This has gone in a completely different direction. I thought, Mike, you're going to have to quit your job. Like, this, this is we got to get going on this. This is a hot idea that'll be the next big thing. We'll call it Mike test or something.
Can I put founder in, like, my bio now and just start posting, like, founder quotes and inspirational musings on things?
Yes, co-founder, CTO, and chief inventor or whatever. Like, there's all sorts of cool extra names you could add to your title.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's all coming together now.
Great. Well, Mike, thanks for joining me today. We've got this great idea. We're gonna have to run with it. We'll have to have you come back and give an update on our big project. Once we have it out there in the wild next week.
So funny that you mentioned that. I already got an email back from an investor. We got our initial round and then instantly lost it because they decided to invest in crypto.
Crap.
All
right. Next idea. Anyways. All right, cool. Thanks.
See you later.
All right, so I'll stop it there. Cool. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate this was some good stuff. It's going to take me like another week or so to cut everything up, and but I'll send you a link once I post everything.
Awesome. Yeah. And apologize if my, like, AI knowledge is pretty limited, because, like, that's, like, stuff that I still just, I'm in the ignore phase until it becomes, like, too hard to ignore.
Yeah, I actually am jumping on Angular Air tomorrow with all of the crew there to talk about AI related stuff. I've been, well, besides using it for, like, your own developer purposes, like we've been talking about, I have been, just like with so many other companies, building some interfaces for our product as well. Like, it's just like there's a lot of interesting things to discuss, like in the area or whatever. So anyways, you should listen to it and be interested in your feedback.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right, well, have a good day. I again appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you coming into the meetup. We are going to post the next one. I'll post probably in a couple weeks for after the new year.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm excited for it to come back and attend the next one.
Cool.
All right,
Mike. Talk to you later. Bye.